episode, we are going to continue our countdown of the most haunted places in America with part 2 of a look at cities along the Mississippi River. But this time we are focusing on the strange and terrifying things that happen there at midnight. Got it? Get it? Good, let's take a look. Number 10, Midnight Echoes. This one comes from a reader named Samantha who says, I grew up hearing stories about the Mississippi River from my great-grandfather, who was a riverboat captain for many years. He would tell us how at midnight the river would come alive and whisper secrets to those who could hear it. Apparently, at midnight, the spirits of those who died on the river would rise and walk the banks. Some were said to be lost souls searching for their way home, while others were angry and vengeful, seeking retribution for their untimely demise. My great-grandfather would always warn us to stay away from the river at midnight, as it was a dangerous time. But of course, we never listened and would sneak down to the bank to try and hear the midnight echoes for ourselves. We never heard anything but the wind and the waves, but I couldn't help but wonder if the river was hiding its secrets from us, or maybe the ghosts were trying to protect us by scaring us away. Number 9, Ghostly Whispers. The town of Vicksburg, Mississippi is rich with history, culture, and unfortunately, ghosts. It's no surprise that the city has earned the nickname City of Ghosts. Many visitors have reported hearing ghostly whispers echoing through the streets at midnight, believed to be the spirits of Confederate soldiers who died during the siege of Vicksburg. During the Civil War, these whispers can be heard on the second floor of the old courthouse museum, which was once a hospital for the wounded soldiers. It's also common to hear singing coming from the basement of the museum. A lot of people say the singing sounds like old spirituals or hymns. There are also regular sightings of apparitions, like the ghost of a young girl in a Victorian nightgown who walks the halls of the museum. And then there is the ghost of a man dressed in a Confederate uniform who appears on the top floor of the museum. Visitors have even caught him on camera sometimes. The best place to experience these ghosts is during the museum's ghost tours. The tour guides are very knowledgeable and entertaining. They do an excellent job of bringing the history of Vicksburg and its ghosts to life. No. 8. Help me. Shannon writes, growing up in Greenville, Mississippi, I always heard stories about the scary things that happened at midnight. The old Delta Queen steamboat was said to be haunted, and many people claim to have seen the ghost of a woman in white on the upper deck at midnight. It was also rumored that the Mississippi River would come alive at midnight and whisper secrets to those who stood on the bank. Of course, being teenagers, we decided to test out these rumors one night. We went down to the riverfront and stood on the bank in the pouring rain. Suddenly, we heard a blood-curdling scream pierce the night. It sounded like someone was being murdered. We were so scared that we ran home as fast as we could. The next day, we found out that an elderly woman had been found drowned in the river. The police said that she had probably fallen into the river and hit her head, but we were convinced that it was the ghost of the river wanting to warn us to stay away. Number 7, Unveiling Mississippi's Midnight Mysteries. Mississippi River is one of the most important waterways in the United States. It is also one of the most haunted. Over the centuries, countless ships have sailed its waters carrying everything from cotton to cars, but they've also carried their share of ghosts. If you sail the river at midnight, you may just see them. You might see the ghost of a sailor who fell overboard and drowned, or the apparition of a steamboat that exploded and killed everyone on board. You might even see the ghost of a riverboat gambler who lost everything at the roulette table and jumped into the river. In the early days of the riverboats, gambling was a popular pastime for both the passengers and the crew. But one fateful night, a gambler who had lost everything took his own life. His ghost is said to wander the riverbanks looking for someone to blame for his misfortune. And he's not the only ghost that haunts the river. There are said to be all kinds of spirits that live in the Mississippi, and they're not always friendly. Some are mischievous, playing tricks on boaters and fishermen. Others are more malicious, trying to drag unsuspecting swimmers underwater or even drown boats. Of course, most of these stories are just that, stories. But there are some cases that remain unexplained even after all these years. In 1974, for example, a group of sailors claimed to have seen the ghost of a woman in white on the deck of an abandoned steamboat. When they tried to talk to her, she vanished. When they went to investigate further, they found no sign of her anywhere. These are just a few of the many stories of hauntings on the Mississippi River. If you sail or fish on the river at midnight, be careful and keep an eye out for the ghosts ghosts that may be lurking beneath the water or along the shore. Number 6. When Darkness Falls. Natchez, Mississippi is one of the oldest cities in the South, and it's also one of the most haunted. If you visit, be sure to check out the historic downtown, which is full of antebellum mansions that are said to be haunted. One of the most famous is the Melrose Mansion, which was built in 1839. It is said to be haunted by the family members of the original owner, including a little girl who died in a fire. Another popular spot for ghost hunters is the Natchez National Cemetery, which is the final resting place of more than 17,000 Confederate soldiers. Many visitors have reported seeing apparitions and hearing disembodied voices here, especially at midnight when the veil between the living and the dead is said to be at its thinnest. The city also has a number of cemeteries that are filled with the ghosts of Natchez's past. If you want to learn more about these cemeteries, take a ghost tour. The local ghost hunters will take you to the most haunted spots in the city and tell you all about the ghosts that roam the streets at midnight. Just be careful where you walk because you never know when one of the ghosts might cross your path, and you don't want to make that mistake. You won't like what happens next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to watch another one, click on the video that's up next.